everybody for being here. Angelique, Rob, Ty, it's great to see you guys. Of course, Doreen and myself are on today as well. Ty, Angelique, I know there's been some really great and fun and exciting updates on a lot of things that have happened over the last few weeks, and I just wanted to make sure we could bring us all up to speed and make sure we were on the same page. So first things first, next week, Tuesday of next week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern is when we have scheduled our virtual student handshake. So I just wanted to confirm, Rob, you are good for that time, correct? Yeah. Angelique, are you good for that time?
Yes.
Okay, great. Ty, is that a time that works for you and your students? Is there a way for you to maybe pull them together to meet virtually? We'll have a room set up just like this, and this will be the time for all of the kids to meet each other and have that virtual handshake. Does that time work?
It should. I'll just need to get confirmation with our upper school head to allow the kids out.
Okay.
Just whatever their commitments might be at that time, but yeah.
Sure. Okay, great. And it is the time block on our calendars is from 8:30 to 10. It may be a little bit shorter than that. We definitely will make sure it doesn't go beyond that. And some kids are going to come in and out based on what their class schedules are. So for example, Rob may have half of his kids for a portion of it and another half for another portion of it, and that's okay. But if you can just let us know what times the kids can be there for sure, we can work the schedule and work out sort of the script and the agenda for that virtual handshake according to what your schedules are. If you can't be there for the whole time, tell us what chunk of time you can be there, and then we can work around that.
Cool.
Okay. And in terms of the goal with the student handshake, and that's really the bulk of what we're going to be talking about today, preparation this week for what we need to do with our kids to make sure we can have a successful virtual handshake on Tuesday next week. So the goal really is to get early on in the semester, which is now, to get the kids to a place where they're seeing all of these other kids and all of these other teachers in other schools around the country, around the world, and knowing that these are the people that are part of this project. These are the people that they're going to be collaborating with and working with through the semester. And for us as adults to do virtual work like this is sometimes hard, and we sometimes have to remind ourselves, oh, I need to be on this video call, or I need to be talking, or I need to be responding, or things like that. So we have to learn to do it as adults as well, and this is absolutely a part of what we want to teach the kids how to do in this process. So step one is let's meet each other face to face and have that exciting handshake that happens. Doreen has put together a script that's a template script for us, and she'll share that with all of us on our call today so that we can go in and really add and edit to what that plan and sort of the run of show will be for our event on Tuesday next week. We'll start off with me doing some introductions and a little bit of a talk with the students and with all of us about what this is and why we're here. And then we'll hand over from one teacher to the next. So you guys can introduce yourself, your school, and then your kids can come up on stage or screen and actually be introducing themselves. So okay, great, Angela, perfect. So that's the plan. That's the overall plan with the handshake. And part of it is them meeting each other. Part of it is them maybe starting to even share some ideas that they have or that they've started to think about in terms of the apps that they want to build. And shortly after the student handshake, we will add students to the Trello board, which is what our mechanism of communication is going to be for the students, to put their ideas, to formulate them, to pick which team they want to be on, create their own team or choose a team to be on, and basically have that collaboration start to happen. So we'll have them meet virtually on video and then have them continue that dialogue on Trello right after that. So that's the overarching plan. Any questions before I hand over to Doreen and she shares with us our agenda for the meeting today?
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Doreen, take it away if you want to share screen. I know we've got an agenda for our meeting today, and we will let you have at it. And we can see your screen, yep.
Okay, good. So this is our agenda for today. We are going to talk about the student handshakes, as Alethea mentioned, basically. So I'd like for us to go round and just each of us give us an update about what's going on. How prepared are your students for the handshake? Just tell us what you've done so far, and if there's been any preparations at all, just if you could let us know, give us a little bit of an update onto that. And then we'll talk about, I'll just share the script that Alethea mentioned with you as well. And then I'll talk a little about the practice rooms for the student handshake. And then we'll just go on to talk about what we will have for preparations for next week, next steps for this week, that is. So why don't we start with Rob? I know your students are not in yet, but do you have an idea what you will be talking to your students about when it comes to the handshake? Do you have anything prepared for your students, or how you're going to psych them up for the student handshake next week?
Yeah, so obviously, absolutely nothing's happened so far, but that hopefully will be changing on Friday. Friday will be sort of my first, so again, just to kind of recap, so I think I have explained this already in previous meetings, but tomorrow is kind of the chance for the teachers to present what their courses are about. These are elective classes here at Collegium Lumen. So I'm trying to attract as many students as I can into my program, and others are doing the same. I think I have the flashiest presentation. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow, I guess. And plus, I have Mad About Mattering, which the others don't have. So that's a point to me too. But anyway, so that's the format for tomorrow, and then on Friday, that will be the day where I sort of instruct the students to start preparing. Now, I have a few ideas. Now, the only thing, it might be a little bit tricky with me because this year, I just found this out last week in our sort of prep week, the students will actually be allowed to switch classes and sort of do it's kind of like a smorgasbord or buffet kind of thing where you can kind of sample the classes first. That might I'm going to try to pick students that I know for sure want to stay and want to do the Mad About Mattering to do that, because otherwise we're going to have, it doesn't make sense to introduce students who, are going to move on to another course in the next class. So I'm going to do my best to kind of figure out who are, the keepers or the stayers, I guess, and go over the stuff I need to with them. So that's my plan for Friday.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Is there anything we can do to help? If you think about anything, let us know. If there's anything you think we can do to help now.
In terms of preparing students?
Yes, correct.
Well, no, I've got the theme. This is our year. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple of ideas that I might kind of tie into that. I'm not sure if I have any specific questions at this point.
Rob, can you share with us, if you don't mind, some of the ideas that you've thought of so far? So let's say on Friday you have a group of kids that are going to be your keepers for Mad About Mattering. What are some things that you're thinking of in terms of preparing them for the student handshake and for, to start to think about the theme and think about their ideas of apps that they want to be building this year?
Well, I think we said the time was about 30 seconds per student?
It was, yep.
Yeah, so I was going to say, obviously, say your name, say something, about yourself, things that interest you. I think I had a list down, but to be quite honest with you, I don't know where that is. No, honestly, because tomorrow's my first day, I've been kind of focusing on the that stuff.
Of course.
Anyway, I do have a few pointers that I'm gonna.
Whatever, and the reason I asked, Rob, is whatever you think of and whatever you kind of plan out, feel free to post on Slack so other teachers can see that as well, and we can all learn from each other and get ideas from each other.
Sure. Yeah. Last year, I guess we sort of did a cultural expose. It was kind of the format of what it was. Obviously, this year we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the app creation, sort of the introductory part, the app creation part, as opposed to what Paraguay is about.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And, one thing to think about in the student introduction. So the goal with the student handshake is that each student comes to the front of the video, front of the room, and they've got a board of some sort, a sign that has their name on it. So everybody else can associate their face with their name for at least a few seconds during that time when they're talking, and they're introducing themselves, and maybe they're sharing some ideas that they have around apps that they want to build this year, right? Even if it's not fully formed yet, that's okay. But the kids can start to say, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. Maybe I want to work with that kid about on this thing, or, oh, that's not really something I'm interested in. Let me think about something else. But they can start to just think of those ideas. So if our theme for this year is "This is our year," right? And how can we, if we had nothing else in the world, if we had no other time but this year to make a difference, to make a change, to do something that mattered, how could we do that, and what would we build in sort of this 1 year that we had to make change and to make a difference? So, getting them to think about some of those ideas, and maybe they share some of those ideas as well in their mini introduction. Cool. Excellent. Bob, thank you. Angelique, would you like to go next? How have you been so far? What's happened with your kids so far? What have you done, and what's the plan for this week?
So far I've just given them kind of a broad introduction to the contest and what it's about. And what I had planned on this week was, after seeing all the calls, initially I was planning for all of the students to participate. But hearing from, the comments that Rob made about the past and some of the other teachers, I was thinking that I may want to hone that down to the students who are the most interested. And everybody would do the apps, but maybe everybody shouldn't participate in the contest based on what I've seen. So I was thinking that I would spend this week kind of narrowing it down a bit. And then as far as having them prepare for their handshake, we've done cards already. Like at the beginning of the year, they do hopes and dreams cards where they put their name in the middle, and then around it they kind of put like their hopes and dreams for STEM class. So kind of the same thing except for bigger, because the cards are like they're the smaller, what size are they? Not the smaller index cards, but the larger size index cards. So maybe a sheet of paper size is what you guys were talking about. Something big enough, or I guess bigger. But anyway, kind of getting the students to do that. And then also I had talked to my principal, and she had suggested maybe some kind of little write-up about why they want to do that. So why they want to participate in the Mad About Mattering contest, so that we really have students that have, buy-in already.
Excellent. No, that sounds great. And if they already have those cards, that's perfect. It doesn't need to be too much bigger, as long as we can see it on the video. And if they can get up close enough to kind of show their face and the card, and if we can read it, that's fine. And it's great that they've already built that in.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll see. And when Doreen puts up the test, I guess when she puts up the test pages, or we can go on and we can see how it looks and whether it needs to be bigger.
Exactly. Absolutely. And those are the practice rooms. And all of us did get an invite for that every day this week. You don't have to at all be there every day this week. It's just open time in the room. If you have time with your kids, or just with you and your devices, and you want to check the sound, check the video. This is also something, Ty, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the recording from last meeting, but this is another thing we talked about, where if you can ideally have a big screen somewhere set up where the kids can all see very clearly everybody else's video. Those are things that are very helpful. Making sure we've got sound, you've got good video, you've got, the internet works, all of those little things, and the kids know, they can practice talking to a camera, and how that looks, and how to do it. And it's a different experience, right? So those are some things you can go into the practice room and get them comfortable with, along with the setup of the room and the space where you're going to be having the handshake event. Cool. Excellent. Angelique, thank you so much for those updates. Ty, tell us about how things are going so far. What are some things that have happened with the kids over the last few weeks, and what do you anticipate happening this week?
Yeah, so Gilman, we've met only twice, unfortunately, in the last few weeks. just because of snow days and funky schedules with other courses trying to be made up in terms of their meeting time. So they sacrifice club times like ours in order to do that. So it's been a little tough getting the kids kind of all on the same page. But we've had a conversation about the handshake and what that's going to be about, and just trying to maintain interest at this point. So, but I think the kids who are there are looking forward to kind of trying this new thing that we've never done before at Gilman. So I think that's going to be pretty good for them, especially some of the younger kids who are new to our upper school and have done some more techie stuff in our middle school. They've been kind of looking for an outlet, so this kind of gives them an opportunity for some of that. So we'll see how it goes. It's just been tough trying to get that time with them over the last few weeks, but enrollment contracts went out on Friday, so my time should be freed up significantly going forward. So I'm looking forward to spending some more time with them and getting them ready for next week.
That's great. That's great, Ty. And yeah, I mean, whichever group of kids that you have that that you are able to meet with this week, just really getting them to have you can do a little bit of an introduction of yourself, of Gilman, or the kids can do that however you want to kind of lay that out. But each student having an opportunity to come up to the mic, come up to the camera, and introduce themselves and share a little bit about what they're passionate about, what they're thinking of in terms of their ideas, maybe why is this an exciting project for them to participate in, anything that, and let the kids be creative, right? You guys be creative however you want to do it. It doesn't have to be prescribed in any way. Whatever you think shows the voice and the personality of the school and the kids in the best way possible, that's entirely up to you. And having about 30 seconds per student. It may be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on our final numbers that we have on Tuesday, but about 30 seconds per student is what we want to plan for. Great. Okay, excellent, Ty. Thank you. Doreen, what was next?
Alethea, please feel free to stop me when any teacher joins. I can't see because I have a full screen, so.
I will, no problem.
All right. All right, so this is the talking about student handshake preparation update. I think we just went through this right now, so I'm just going to go on to the next. Alethea talked about the script. I put together a script. I will just share with you so you have an idea what how the script looks like currently, but this is the link to the script in case you want to check it out after the meeting. Let me just escape, and then 1 second. So this is how our script looks like currently. As Alethea said, she's going to start with introductions, and then she'll pass it on, introduce the team, and then pass it on to each teacher to introduce themselves, the school, and the students. And the students have approximately 30 seconds each to introduce themselves. And then there'll be time for questions. We're looking at 3 questions per student, but then all per school, but then all other questions can be typed in the chat as we go along.
So Doreen, one column that we want to add to this, if you can, at the very beginning, is the start time and a start time of each section. So if introductions are starting at 8:30, how much time do I have to finish that and then hand over to Rob? And once Rob takes the mic, how much time total does he have for Colegio Lumen? And then when he passes it on to the next school, how much time? So basically, if you can just put an additional row there, that's the time. So that way we all know within your time, here you've got 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 17 minutes, and it's all yours, and you can spend that time as you like. But by this time, you need to pass over to the next teacher in the next school. So that way we can just kind of keep track of that, and we'll facilitate as well with kind of time reminders if needed. But we can absolutely have that in there, so we've got clarity on that, and when which school is kind of coming up to the stage.
All right, I will do that. I will include a time as well. This is a draft, so by the time this is done, it should have that. I will take care of that tonight.
Okay, great.
Do we have any other questions, or should I just go on?
So teachers, Ty, Angelique, I know Rob is with nieces and nephews for a quick minute. Does this, so what we were thinking so far is basically just handing off from one school to the next and having that chunk of time that you have with your students to do your introductions, to do your presentation. And then we have a few minutes for each school where other kids from other schools can ask questions. And it may be, it may be silly things, it may be in-depth things, it may be everything in between. But we can kind of keep it to 3 questions that we get per school, and then you can kind of facilitate the answers to those with the kids on your end. Does that sound like a good run of show for us?
It does. I had a question for the 3 questions. Are those questions that we're asking the students to prepare in advance so that we're controlling?
Right. And so, let's say, Angelique, your students present and they say something about Amana Academy that some other student finds really interesting. They could basically just spur of the moment say, oh, I want to ask you about so-and-so, or how is life in Paraguay and what does that look like? What language do you speak? Just different things that kids that may be interested in. So, we want to prepare them to, one, be listening when others are talking, right? And that's really hard for a lot of people to do. But when other people are talking, be listening, paying attention, and think of a question that you might have for the school that is currently presenting. And that's a good way to also, of course, keep them engaged, right? If you have to ask a question on it later, hopefully you're listening. So that was sort of the thought around that. Ty, what do you think? Does that work in terms of a run of show? Any suggestions, ideas on how to add elements to this that we think will be more engaging, more fun? Those are always things that we welcome. So
I think that'll be good. I think my only hesitation, caution, whatever you want to call it, might just be, again, me trying to figure out how many kids I can get there and for how long I can get them there, just to make sure that they'll have enough time to and be settled enough to go through the question process and be focused enough on it. But I'll do my best to take care of that.
Okay. Ty, if you wouldn't mind, and this is actually for all of the teachers, even teachers who are watching this later, Doreen is going to share this Google Doc with us. If all of you can put in details on, you're going to have this many kids, you're only available from this time to this time, whatever those things are, and you can actually move yourself around on the script. If you realize that you can only present at this time, feel free to move things around so that everybody is accommodated in that way. And it's a live living, breathing document. Let's all work on it together and make sure that we have this. And ideally on Tuesday, have this printed out and kind of with you once it's finalized, which will probably be late Monday. But late Monday next week or Tuesday morning, print it out and have it with you so okay, here's the flow, here's what's going to happen. And of course, we're all flexible. If we have to wing things on the spur of the moment, we will. But it's good to have a plan so we can all be prepared.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Okay, Doreen, thank you.
So just a little, I think Alifia has talked about the student handshake practice rooms, but I'll just go over a little bit more. The rooms will be open from Tuesday, February 20th to Monday, the 26th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. And like Alifia said, you don't have to be in every single day. Whenever you're free within this time frame, I'll be in. The rooms will be open. So just hop in and check that everything is working as it should. You can just play around and test all your equipment and make sure your computers, your sound, everything is working. I'll be there if you need me for anything or you need to ask any questions. I'll be in the rooms every day from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if for some reason I'm not in, feel free to Slack me and I will hop on immediately and answer your questions or be there so you can use me as a test as well. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm so glad you mentioned Slack, Doreen, and teachers, that is the best way. If you go into the room and you can't log in or you can't find Doreen, I would hate, Doreen, for you to be sitting there and nobody be there all day. So just Slack Doreen when you're in, and she'll make sure that she's there and that she can help with testing and things on her end. So if you don't see her when you log in or when you click on that Zoom link, just Slack her and she'll make herself available. And Doreen, thank you for that. I know that's very helpful for us to prepare.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll let you know, Doreen, but most likely Thursday will be my best day for it, but I'll confirm.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Ty.
Perfect.
Again, the date is Tuesday for the handshake. And it's and
Big day, big day. Woo!
yeah, I hope you're all excited. I am. Okay, so this is Trello, talking about Trello and getting your students into Trello. I sent each and every one of us invites to join Trello. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you should have received an email notification saying that I have invited you to join.
And Doreen, everybody's head was nodding and thumbs up, so everybody got it.
Okay, that's great. If you want me to go through how to get your students onto Trello and all
Sure.
that.
So I can address that a little bit, Doreen. So folks, what we are, Trello, think of Trello as essentially the virtual, kind of a virtual classroom for a part of Mad About Mattering. It's the place where kids are going to be in, and they are going to be able to create cards that are different ideas that they have for the apps that they want to build. They can add to them, develop them further in each card that they create. They can move. These are the categories that we've built into the board just so you can take a look at. If I come in, let's say I'm a student, I come into the board and I have an idea to create an app on bullying, because that's something that I feel really passionate about, and I want to build an app to help that issue at my school or in the world. So I'm going to put in the first draft ideas, I'm going to create a card that says the name of the app, bullying, a description, kind of a one-line, here's what this app is going to be, and then an in-depth a thought out idea and kind of a paragraph that they write about what it is that this app should do or what it is that they want to accomplish with this app. So during the criteria that we want to have for each card is something that we want to share with the teachers, and make sure that every card that a student makes has three things. It has the name of the app, it has sort of a subtitle, a byline, and it has a paragraph or two description of the purpose of the app and what it's going to do. So those are the three things that are needed to create a card in the first draft idea phase. As they develop it further, maybe they add some links, some pictures, some videos to develop their idea further. They can move it to the second draft column. And all along, kids are either creating new ideas or they are saying on another idea card, they're putting their name and they're saying, I am interested in this app idea. I want to work on this app with you. So students have really two options at this phase. One is to create a new idea card, and there'll be hopefully several of them that are in that first row. And the second option is to look through the existing ideas and pick one that they want to be a part of and one that they want to be on the team of. So as those ideas continue to develop, they'll get, maybe some of them will be full and have a full team ready, and maybe some of them need more team members. So if a particular idea needs more team members, they'll move to the next row here that is needing more teammates. And once they have enough, and Doreen, this is another thing we need to put on a slide as well, which is what is the criteria for an app to go into production, or an idea to go into production. And we need to think about that and see what's feasible. I think we can do this a little bit more on our next meeting as well, but just to start to think about, what do we want to have be the basic criteria for an idea to say, okay, this is now ready to go into production. It needs to have team members from various schools, and we need to identify how many. Are we good with 5? Do we need 8? Do we need, 7 per team. How many students do we want to have on each team? How many schools do we want to have represented on each team? And what's the level and depth of research and planning that has gone into the idea so far, where we say, okay, these kids really, they've got something here, they've got their plan in place, now let's get them into the production, right? So those are the things that we're trying to accomplish with the Trello board. That'll happen over the next few weeks. But immediately, what we'd like for each of you to do is to come in, log into Trello, get onto this board. You can practice making some cards yourself and deleting them, moving them around, seeing how it works. But add your students to this Trello board. So there's a way, and yes, Doreen, can you show us how to add people? So each teacher, if you can come into the board and add your own students, that would be the most efficient way. You know who your kids are, you know who's participating, who's not, so you come in and add them to the Trello board. But Doreen, show us how to do that.
So where it says show menu with the 3 dots, once you click on that, there's a column here that says invite. Just type in the name, the email address of whoever you want to invite.
So this does, folks, this does require us to have email addresses for the students. And you don't have to share them with us. You can just go in, like I said, and add them into the Trello board themselves. But this is how students will be able, you will know who's doing what on Trello, and you'll be able to track and see, okay, this is what this student did, this is what this student did. But more importantly, when they start talking to each other and commenting on different ideas and leaving messages for each other, they'll get email notifications saying, so-and-so commented on your card, or so-and-so is asking you for help, or you know, things like that. If there's a due date, all of those things, they get notifications. So, you know, if they have school emails, that is ideal. If there's any other email address that you're able to use for the student, that's what you want to use here to add them into the Trello board.
Yeah.
Is that a concern? Does everybody, do all kids have email? Angelica,
Yeah,
you know, yes, Todd, okay.
Our kids have email, so that won't be an issue.
Great, perfect. So can we say by Friday this week that all of us have gone in and added our students to the Trello board?
Yep.
Okay, great. And what we will do in the meantime is under each row, we'll add a little description of what is expected for that. Like, what's the criteria to do something in a particular row? Does that sound good?
Yep.
Excellent. So Doreen, if you can just make a note of that for me, I can go in and do that as well. Just the criteria for each of the rows.
Okay.
Excellent. Okie dokie.
All right, so next steps for this week and next week. First of, finalize your school's introduction for the student handshake. So get your students ready for Tuesday, and then ensure that all students are prepared with their name, cards, and their 30-second intro. Go into the practice rooms and check that everything is working as it should, and I'll be there. Please don't forget to Slack me if for some reason I'm not in the room. Focus on getting students inspired to think about ideas around why this is our year and apps that they can build for it. And add all students to the Trello board, like we just said. And please respond to messages on Slack and let us know that you're on there. You can put your ideas on Slack as well, so other teachers can also learn from what your students are doing. I think that's...
Doreen, thank you. That was very, very helpful. And Angelique, I know you mentioned your kids already have the cards that they made. Maybe if you can post a picture of a few of those just so we can see what that's like or what they did. And again, the more ideas that we have, the better. And you never know what inspires different things among us. So don't be shy. Whatever things you're doing, whatever things you're thinking about, just post it. Even if you don't know exactly what to do and you have some questions, ask the other teachers, ask us. That's what we're all here to co-teach our group of kids throughout the semester. So we're here as support system and as idea, we can just brainstorm ideas together. Excellent, Doreen, thank you. Any questions, guys, on the plan for this week and next week? Of course, we're going to see you next Tuesday morning. Doreen and I and several of the other folks on our team will probably be in the room Tuesday morning by about 7:30, if not 8 o'clock at the very latest. So we'll be in there about an hour earlier in case you want to come in and set up early and make sure everything is ready on the day of. But we will absolutely see you Tuesday morning next week.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, teachers. Any questions, anything before we adjourn for today?
Oh, I do have one thing. My the 2 high school students that I have, they will not be on at the same time as the other students. Is that okay if they come in later?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Just, on that script document, Angelique, just put in which times your middle schoolers are going to be there and when your high school kids can come in. We can kind of squeeze in an extra 5 minutes for your high school kids to introduce themselves as well. So just add it into there based on the timing.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. Not a problem. Great question. Anything else? Any other thoughts, ideas, comments before we adjourn?
No, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Good. We are as well. And don't forget to tweet with the hashtag #AppsThatMatter. Doreen, we definitely need to get everybody rolling on Twitter. I know you have everybody's handles, but during the event next week, if you want to take pictures of the kids, of what's happening on video, the live event in whatever capacity, maybe even like a little video, here's what's happening, feel free to do that, and we can live tweet or Facebook or whatever you do, and make sure we can spread the word and share this great opportunity for students to connect with each other.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Well, take care, teachers. Have a wonderful evening. Ty, Angelique, have a great evening. Doreen, thank you so much as always. We will see you on Slack in a little bit.
You all do the same. Enjoy. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.